Okay, open your math book up to page 416. We're on section 10.4 today. We're going to be talking about multiplying and dividing monomials, which we have already done, but we're adding some more numeric coefficients and things like that to it, and it becomes a little more difficult, but you've got this, okay? So 416. All right, we're going to be on page 416. Now, remember that a monomial is an algebraic expression that has one term, okay? Now, that one term can include like 2x to the third, y to the second, z. That's still one term because terms are separated by addition and subtraction signs, not multiplication. So you would have, if you had or let's just come up with something else. If you have 5, a to the 7th, b to the 4th, c to the 2nd, plus 5a squared, b squared, c, that would be a binomial because it has two terms. This is one term and this is another term, okay? But we're dealing with monomials, which is one term. But I just want to make sure you understand that it may be one term, but it can have multiple variables in that term, okay? And that makes it still a term. And because terms are separated by addition and subtraction, okay? Now, when multiplying variables, we have to remember the rule to follow the multiplying like bases. And basically, when you are multiplying variables with like bases, we are going to do what with our exponents? Add. When we are dividing, we subtract, okay? So when you multiply, we add. When you divide, we subtract, okay? Now, let's move on here. So again, if we have 3a squared b times 2ac squared, you're going to have, look, watch me here. 3 times 2 is what? 6. A is 2 plus what? 1. B is 1 plus 2. Everybody watching? So what is my final answer? 6a to the third and b to the third. Okay? It is neat how it works. All right, let's look at some more. Now, you're going to have them where you're going to have multiple, like 2xy squared times 3x squared y squared times 5xy. Now, again, I'm going to multiply 2 times 3 times 5, and that gives me what? 2 times 3 is what? 6 times 5 is what? 30. Then I like to write it like this just so that you do not get confused. But x to the first power, so that'd be 1 plus 2. Where'd I get that 2? Right here. Plus 1. Then I'm going to put my y here. I've got 2 plus 2 plus 1. So my final answer is 30. X to the 4th, y to the 5th. That's your final answer. Okay? That makes sense? That's fun, isn't it? I would rather multiply than I would divide them, but that's okay. Now, let's move on. Let's talk about division. Remember, when you are dividing monomials, you are going to subtract. Okay? Now, let's say that we have 4y to the third, z to the third over 2y z to the 7th, okay? Okay, So you are going to divide, okay? So 4 divided by 2 is what? 2, okay? And technically you could put that, if you wanted to, you could put that 2 over 1, okay? And then y to the third over y to the second, we know is y3 minus 1, which makes it, let's just leave it as 2 for now until we get to negative. So y to the second, and then z would be 3 minus 7, which you're going to add a line, change the sign, and so you're going to have a negative 4. Now, there's another way that you can write this without the negative, okay? So I want to teach you that now. I didn't teach you that before, but because I wanted you to make sure that you understood it before I taught you this. So now, if you have a variable with a negative, you can simply write 2y to the fourth over z to the fourth instead of putting a negative there. Now, I see it both ways. I've seen it taught both ways. In your textbook, it teaches it like this. In fact, if you look at C on page 417, everybody look at page 417 and look at C. Okay, you can see that they tell you 6ab negative 1 or 6a over b. So you see how they put that negative on the bottom without the negative? You can write it that way, or you can write it z y to the fourth, 2y, you guys letting me mess things up here today. Just kidding. 2y to the second, z to the fourth. Or z 2, y to the second, z to the negative fourth. There we have it. I finally got it. Okay? Now, let's move on and look at some more of these, okay? So let's say that you are given a problem that is written 9c to the third divided by c to the eighth. What would you do? Well, you would rewrite it, correct? How would you rewrite it, William? Nine c to the third over c to the eighth. Okay? Now, what am I going to do next, Miles?
Bring the 9 down, or would you like to?
Yeah, you can actually answer this in the two ways. You would have 9.
And then 3 minus 8.
Which is c to the negative fifth power. And you can write it like this or like this. Okay? We're going to decide on a way that we're going to do it. The textbook teaches it both ways. And their answers are both ways. I think they give me the answers in both ways too. So we'll work with that, okay? All right, let's practice. You guys want to practice some? You may get a whiteboard and we'll practice some. Absolutely. 3 y to the fourth times 8 y to the second. Okay, everybody work that out. All right, so I'm going to work this one out so you can see how you did.
While watching the American. I don't know, I was watching that movie.
All right, so first of all, I'm going to multiply 3 times 8, which is 24. Y, which is 4 plus 2. My final answer is 24. Y to the sixth. Okay?
So you do multiply the 3.
Remember, you always multiply the numeric numbers. But the numbers that go with the exponents, you're going to add. Okay? Remember that.
Be dangerous.
9p times 7q to the third. Okay? I want you to think about this one. You're not going to be adding your exponents. Okay? So I'm going to work this one out with you as well, but I want you to do it first, and then just keep in mind you're not going to be adding your exponents. That is a P and that's a Q. So I got this. So here we go. Listen closely. So in this case, notice that you have a P and you have a Q. You remember you cannot add the exponents unless the variables are the same. Okay? But I can multiply 9 times 7, which is 63. What letter comes first, P or Q? P, and then Q to the third. That's your answer. Okay? That is your answer. How did you guys do?
I got the basic multiplication wrong because I'm smart.
Okay, this time we're going to do 6W times 5W to the fourth. Okay? All right, now you work it out and then I want to see your answer. Your answer is 30W to the fifth. Remember you have an invisible 1 right here that you have to add to the 4 to make it 5. So 30W to the fifth. All right, let's do a few more. Okay, here's your next problem. 6DP times 8P squared. Okay? All right, now solve that on your own, and I'm going to call up Paddles in just a moment. Okay, Paddles up. You know it.
Yes, I do know it, but I don't.
48 DP to the third. 48 DP to the third. All right, let's move on to some division, okay? Well, no, let's do one more multiplication, and then we're going to do division, okay? No. All right, here we go. All right, so, Miles, zip it. All right. Bear, W to squared. All right, listen. 5V squared W squared times 4W Z to the sixth. Okay, make sure you match up your variables before you go to add those together.
I don't know if it's right.
All right, give it a whirl. So 5 times 4 is 20. Okay, there is no V. Let me talk, please. W2 plus W1 would be W3, and there's no Z to match it with, so that is your answer. 20 V squared W cubed Z to the sixth power.
I didn't actually think I'd get that right.
All right, very good. I'm glad you did. Now, let's move on to division. All right, this is 120 A to the fourth power over 12. So, first thing you're going to do is you're going to divide 12 into 120, which we know equals what? 10. So it's 10A to the fourth. You don't have any A here, so you're just simply going to carry it over just like that. Okay? Well, there's no A on the bottom for you to subtract, okay? All right, let's do another one. This time we're going to do 20A to the third divided by A squared. All right, get me an answer and I'll call Paddles up. So your answer is 20. A or A1 is correct, okay? 20A. All right, and if you had A1, that is still the exact same. 18B squared divided by B to the fifth. Solve, and I'll call Paddles up. All right, do we have answers?
Yes.
All right, Paddles up. 18. Okay, your answer could be 18B negative 3 or 18.
Oh, I forgot to put the B there.
over b to the third. Notice that the negative variable and exponent can go on the bottom and leave whatever is not negative on the top. Does everybody see this? So I will accept either answer, okay? I personally find this to be the easier one, but you do need to understand there is another method that you can use, okay? All right, let's do another. 12a squared divided by 10a squared. Help you with this one. All right, so, you know, you cannot technically divide, but you can reduce 12 over 10 to 6 over 5. What is a squared divided by a squared? Nothing. That's your answer. Okay?
Okay, that one's weird.
That is your answer. All right, let's do another division.
I don't like the division one.
Can you just give us like a multiplication?
Oh man. Okay, we're doing even. Okay. All right. So now let's say that you are given g squared divided by 7. Technically, we're not going to do that. Okay. Let's say that you're given 7g divided by g squared. Or it could be written like this, 7g divided by g squared, and then you rewrite it like that, okay? Which we know that is g, or 7, either over g, or 7g negative 1, okay? Either one is acceptable.
I have brain.
Okay, how do you guys feel about these? You ready to tackle some of these? All right, here's your assignment, page 417, and you are to work on them right now in class. It is not something you're going to wait and do for homework. Yes, you may do your work in your book. You're going to do 2 through 30 even. Yeah, buddy, 2 through 30 even. I could give you more if you'd like. 2 through 30 even.